perfect solution. I think with the solution, there's employment contract, right? So with the solution, i.e. separation, the employment contract is perfect. No, right? There's still moral hazard, and that's separation. Okay, as a remedy solution. Okay, but still, the problem that still remains. But of course, in the context of Jensen, Farmer and Jensen, having the solution is still much better than not having it. Okay, but nothing is perfect in the real world. The problem remains simply because of moral hazard. So specifically in the contract, it is basically impossible for one of the parties to the contract, okay, to enforce the terms and conditions, okay, especially by way of penalty, to be able to impose sufficient penalty on the deviation by the other side of the contract. Okay. So in this case then, offering an optimal contract as such, which is based on exposed productivity, is not feasible. The good old problem of incontractability of incentives, or the bottom line of moral hazard, still remains. Okay. In the corporate reality, we think shareholders are able to come up with a precise contract to make managers choose the optimal level of efforts. Always efforts level 2 from the income statement example rather than efforts level 3. Despite the monitoring, all sorts of monitoring by the board of directors or internal audit, there will still be something remaining. Okay? So in this case, an important question becomes, well, we have a contract. And in this contract, or under the contract that we have, employment contract, right? Given employment contract, what could we do? What could the principal do, say employer do, to induce the agents or employees to act in the best interest, or to adhere to the terms and conditions of the contract as much as possible? What could they do? Okay? If they did nothing, things would be very bad. Situation would be very bad. If they did everything that they could, they won't get 100% out of it, but still much better than doing nothing. Okay, so if they want to do something, what would they do? Okay, so in addition to the idea of trying to enforce, okay, or impose penalties under the condition of, let's say we have optimal contract or under the contract. In addition to that, okay, it is important to use carrots, incentives, stick and carrot, just like training a horse, a race horse. You give the horse a stick and put the carrot in front, hence the term stick and carrots. Okay, so what kind of carrots would be good? That is, would make the managers or farmers bear the cost of deviation, deliberate deviation or misbehavior. And when the farmers do good, reward the farmers as appropriate. Okay, corresponding to their contributions, precisely. What kind of incentives? What kind of structure? The answer is simple. Let's make life simple. Give farmers the right incentives. What are the right incentives? Don't tell me left incentives. Okay, so these are the incentives that make managers become shareholders. Align managers' interests with those of shareholders. That try to align. Alignment effect, align. right? Go together. But doesn't mean being exactly the same, right? Doesn't have to be, okay? But of course, being exactly the same would be nice. But as we will see, there's no point in doing that. You can't do it anyway. Okay, so these are the ideas, the concepts. So how could we get the incentives right? I say here, well, to get it right is $1 million question. What does that mean, $1 million question? I don't know. Right? This is a consulting. This would be a type of consulting appointment that I would hate very much. The firm has a problem. Okay, contact me, right, to do consulting. Please give us, come up with a remuneration package or compensation package that will solve the problem. I would say, okay, thank you very much for considering me. I'm very honored. Unfortunately, yeah, I've got a lot of classes this term, so I won't be able to serve as a consultant as per your request. But nevertheless, I do very much value your consideration. I feel very honored. It's just that I've got a lot of classes, and huge classes. They're all huge classes. In other words, the fee that they're likely to pay me is not enough, considering the impossibility of getting the right incentives. Okay. So if I get it wrong, I get bad reputation. So now it's okay. This I hate this kind of job because it's all firm specific. Right? It gives you a big headache. You hate it extra. Okay, and in each firm, how many contracts are there? How many divisions are there? Wow, this is a headache. Okay. But if we are inside of the firm, we are the manager, we are shareholders of the firm, owner of business, we can't run away from the problem. I can run away. I don't own the firm, right? Okay. So if we have to face the problem, what should we do? Let's start from somewhere simple. Start from an ideal world, okay? So in this case, then the plan, compensation scheme or the plan employment contract should include terms and conditions that will reward, okay, managers for doing well in this case, and the criteria for rewarding should be easy to evaluate. These are the ingredients for me for being easy to evaluate. Should not be subject to manipulation either. Right? If it's subject to manipulation, then we can't tell. Is it going to apply this time, or doesn't it apply this time, or when is it going to apply? How do we live with it? Right? It won't be easy to evaluate. Okay. Right? It should prevent perks and jerks. Okay. It should not allow for big bonuses, huge bonus. Okay. Or extra, let's say, business class airfares of this position, that position, right? Exploitation company cars and so on, or extra benefits. Okay, for example, should not allow the union to bargain for extra sort of welfare payment. Okay, pay for our kids' tuition fees, for example. Okay. Okay, employment contract is employment contract. It should have a horizon that matches shareholders' investment horizon. This is nice and clear and interesting. Okay, what's the length of shareholders' aggregate investment horizon? In the firm, same contract, same time, right? Same contract, same case. What is the horizon for the contract? Shareholders' horizon in the contract, in the firm. Holding dead people constant. Okay, holding dead people constant. We have left-hand side of the balance sheet. Right, assets. These are contracts, or an aggregate contract. Holding them constant for now, if firm have them. All right. In this case, then debt-free. All equity. But do these people in the E part, the right-hand side of the balance sheet, run the assets by themselves? No, they get managers. Okay, so what is the length of the horizon of people in the E, of shareholders in this contract? How long? What about managers? How long do they expect to stay in the contract, the managers? Until their retirement? Yeah, pretty much. How long do you expect to stay in Tyco? What about the on-the-job training? On-the-job training, 2 years and you quit? They allow you to study? Do they support you? Okay. Sort of, let's say, retirement. What about shareholders? Do shareholders retire? No, forever. See, there's a difference. This difference is very important. Okay, we'll come back to this. Another feature in the employment contract regarding compensation is that the terms and conditions should match managers' risk and shareholders' risk, while recognizing that diversification is much easier and more feasible for shareholders than for managers. Wow, beautiful world, wonderful world. Okay, is that possible? Come back to this. It should also tie manager's specific contribution not to just pure efforts, but to the effect, the wealth effects, or the changes in shareholders' wealth as a result of their efforts. They could be making genuine efforts, but it could be stupid, it could be silly efforts. Okay? So you don't need to be clever here, but you're so clever. When you need to be clever, you are so dumb. You make a lot of efforts, but these are dumb efforts. You think they should be rewarded? Well, deep in my heart, I say a little bit, right? But ideally, no. Okay? To be kind, to be humane, a little bit. For being genuine, for being honest, for working hard, although, you know, you don't make dumb efforts, please. Just do nothing. But okay, you know, for a humanitarian reason, maybe a little. Say for marks. Okay, essay type question. You say a lot, just, wow, you try very hard. You don't say anything to kill yourself, right? But the answers that you give, don't answer the questions. Answer entirely different questions. Completely misunderstood, misread the question. The question is nice and clear. Ask for adverse selection, but you keep talking about moral hazard. Okay? Yeah, I give you some marks for knowing and for trying very hard. Maybe 10%. Not of the exam, of the question. Maybe 10%. Okay? Right. I think this is what happens in real world. Stupid, I'm sorry about this, but stupid people don't get promoted. Okay? But I believe that people are just as stupid or are just as clever. Right? When you get things wrong, it's just that they don't pay attention. So to me, in reality, really, it comes down to efforts and trying. Okay? Trying to think, basically. Anyway, the real world is that we can't have all these features all in one contract. Okay? So what happened is a compromise. And we can't do much about it. Okay? So whatever you do, what we do, need to bear in mind that we reap what we sow. Okay? This is as the old saying goes, nice and clear. Okay? Basically, if you reward managers, okay, give bonus on the top line in the income statement. What you likely to end up with? What's the top line in income statement? Is that net profit, residual profit, or revenue? Okay, market share, man. Give you bonus on larger market share. Revenue. What are you going to end up with? get a lot of sales volume, but those sales volumes could represent negative NPV sales. Huge discount, you get a lot of market share, sales volume, where's the profit? Right, you could get that. So if firm want to increase market share and sales volume, one way to be able to expand the sales base, okay, in the product market, is to acquire their competitor, acquire another firm. Okay, and they'll get the market share. Right? So if managers, if this is a game that managers have to play, do play. Okay, so in this case, they keep acquiring another firm. The firm gets larger and larger, but when it comes to profitability, is basically profit divided by assets, right? There's some sort of scaling. So after scaling, the ratio could be very, very low. Okay, so in this case then, if the remuneration is tied to the present firm size or presence in the industry, market share, you get what people call empire building. Keep building the empire, right? But not a profitable empire, just empire. Okay. All right. So we need to always remember that everybody tries to maximize their own utilities. Okay. If we take this as given, if we accept this fact that everybody are utility maximizers, and we have moral hazard in the same contract, two sides of the contract. If the cut for the left side is large, as the cut for the left side gets larger, the cut remaining for the right side to the contract becomes small. Okay, and if the two sides have different abilities to look after themselves or to protect the interest in the contract, then clearly the incentives on both sides are different. Okay. In other words, we will have the problem of incentive incompatibility. Okay. In the same contract, incentives are not the same. So basically you end up with cheating. Now, different ability. Let's go back to this lovely feature of an ideal plan. Match risk, but recognize that shareholders can diversify their risk, the risk facing them, right? Landladies, and specializing in risk bearing. Unlimited alienability, that term, right? McCormick's. Can managers do the same thing? Shareholders can diversify their income stream, diversify unsystematic risk. What about managers? Do we have a contract between each other? You in aggregate and me. Yeah, we have a contract. Right? I get paid to teach, to deliver, let's say, to deliver lecture materials. I don't like the term teaching because a lot of students don't want to be taught, right? They want to share ideas and discuss stuff. But anyway, so that's fine. Okay. To deliver lecture materials, to deliver lectures in class. Okay. Now, as your agent, can I diversify my income stream? Can I diversify the risk associated with my expected future income stream or my wealth? The stream, expected stream in the future, right, that gives me my wealth, that constitute my wealth. Can I do that? You hold claims, right? You hold claims in a contract. You can diversify, right, diversify away the unsystematic risk of the claims that you hold through portfolio diversification. Now, as a manager, as a course instructor, in class here, sitting here, can I diversify my employment risk? Can I offer property rights on my future labor, on expected use of my future or of my labor, that is in the future as well, right? Wealth is a function of future expectation, future cash flows. Okay, so can I trade the property rights on my future, sorry, on my labor? Hey, certificates of property rights. You have cash flow rights, you have certificate for cash flow rights, voting rights. Here, I offer certificates of property rights on my labor and go to the labor market and trade, exchange. Can I do that? Can I go and teach? Can I go and teach at Thammasat? MIF at Thammasat at the same time? Can I? Why not? I'm a free agent. On weekends I can do things. It's my private time. No, office hours, Monday to Friday.
This is break something in contract.
No.
So you're allowed to do
My boss, right? My boss said no. So in the contract, I know that. I've tried. Not at Thammasat, right? When I was a new face in this university, I just first joined this university. Wow, a new face, new kid in town, lovely face, young face coming in. I think about 2 weeks, my first 2 weeks, the second week of my work here. Okay, while I was driving to work, I got a phone call. Someone from so-and-so university. And said, okay, this is Ajahn from this university. Yeah. Basically, he was making an offer for me to teach in the master's degree. What course? Finance theory. And said the rate that I would get paid. Imagine my salary and the rate. I thought, okay, thank you very much. I'm very honored. Thank you. Let me get back to you. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, so that we could discuss the timing and so on and so forth. I was holding back a little bit. But in my mind, I was thinking, nice, extra pay. So came on the 10th floor and walked into the department. I saw my boss. Okay, that different boss. Okay, about 10, 12 years ago, sitting in her office. It was her, right? And so I better let her know. At least as a matter of courtesy. I want to stay on the right side of her. Good terms. Don't sneak around doing things behind her back. So, office. I've got a phone call. I just got a phone call from university. Okay, and making an offer to me to teach on the weekend, on weekends, right? It's a master's degree. Yeah, I thought I should let you know immediately, let you know straight away that I got a phone call. What was her response? Yes. Oh, that's fine, no problem. It's your weekends or your private time, no problem, right? During weekdays, even on weekdays in the evening, your private time. You're allowed to do whatever you want. No problem at all. Right? I cannot interfere. Okay? So you can go and teach. Yeah, no problem at all. It's your private time. Thank you for letting me know. That's not it. That wasn't it. By no way was the end of it. A little sentence, nice, a little whisper. I was going to say, oh, thank you very much. And then came this soft whisper. But I don't like it. She said, but I don't like it. Personally, I don't like it. Personally, you go, but just personally. On personal record, nothing to do with work. Personally, I don't like it. Yeah, I thought it, I'm not sure whether it was, so I thought I would let you know immediately. So I had to go through muddy water. I'm sure she knew, but I think I successfully got myself out of her office in one piece. Okay, so I said, yeah, it was a bit funny that I don't know how they got my phone number and this and that. Yeah, I think my boss knew that I was trying to get out of the situation, right? Go through muddy water and say this, say that, trying to find my way out. And then she said, look, think about it. Yeah, fine, you can work, but that program is direct competitive. What do you think? I said, yeah, I thought about that too. And I don't know how they got my phone number. Before I left her office, I saw in her eyes and she was thinking, don't you ever think I didn't work it down? I'm sure she was thinking like that. But anyway, I just went quiet, never mentioned that ever again. And went back to my desk and tried to pump out research. She wanted basically pretty much 2 publications in 2 years. Good, she said reasonable journals in 2 years. She wanted at least one published in 2 years. So I thought, okay, let's go back to my job before I lose my job. So, can I diversify? Obviously no. From this nice and clear example. Okay, I can't allow that university to buy property rights on my future labor either. Right? So we can generalize this and say that the labor market is in all probability, most definitely now here, near as well functioning as a capital market. What does it mean now here? It's nowhere. Alright? So I cannot diversify. There'll be an exam. Now here, what does it mean? Google, find out the meaning. Okay? Is it misspelling? Should be a dash now and here? Okay. So naturally, we can see now why, as a manager, as an agent, same contract. Right? The manager would be more risk averse than shareholders. And are they more risk averse than shareholders? Is there any evidence to support, let's say, this hypothesis or this claim? Yes. Okay? It is empirically well established now. No need to test this for your dissertation. Right? Everybody have done this again and again from different aspects, and we now know this. Okay? And there's another problem to do with investment horizon. Let's say the labor market is well functioning. We have a proper functioning labor market. But if the investment horizon or the horizon in the contract is not the same, okay, that is being in particular being shorter for me than for shareholders in aggregate. Managers shorter than having shorter horizon than shareholders do. For example, managers retire, shareholders don't retire. Right? This is why shareholders don't retire. This is why a firm is viewed as a going concern. Okay? This is why accounting numbers are prepared on the basis of a going concern rather than liquidation basis. Okay? So the values in balance sheet, including or the accruals that we see in balance sheet or notes to financial statements, okay, are prepared on the basis of assuming going concern, okay, or net, the lower of course, or net realizable value in general. I think the IFRS or US GAAP still the same, right? The core of it is still the same. Okay, so horizon differs now. Okay, I as a manager have shorter horizon. So there could be a situation, there will always be in any contract at the end of the day, right, where I will still deviate. I know I will get punished. Let's say I get fully punished from deviating from the contract. but I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back to the firm. I'm not coming back to the labor market. I'm going to retire anyway. I don't worry about my reputation. I may as well just have one for the road and say goodbye to the firm. Deviate big time. I won't get caught anyway, because I would get punished in the next round of the assessment, right? I do bad this year. I deviate this year. I get caught, right? So penalty will happen in the next round of the assessment, right? Okay, say from January, my salary will go down, get salary reduction. But no problem, I'll be at home on my retirement package. I won't be receiving salary from the firm anyway. You can reduct as much as you want. I'm not going to get paid anyway. I'm not coming back to the labor market. So in this case then, I can still deviate and don't get punished. Even if there's a properly functioning labor market. Okay? So the difference in horizons in the contract makes or gives a problem as well, right? Gives room to deviation. Okay, so with all these problems, how do firms handle the problem? Agency problems or employee problems. How do firms incentivize their employees? Encourage their employees to work hard? Well, if you do well, you do good, reward. And a typical feature in an employment contract, either written or verbal or implicit, is a bonus plan. Does Thaikom give bonus? How many months on average? 2 months? Wow, big. How big a bonus do you think I get from the school? Hey, don't look down. Hey. Sorry? I get bonus. For my entire career, I've received bonus once. Right. There was once bonus for faculties in this school. Not sure about other school or faculties in the university. There's this school once. I got 3,000 baht something. Bonus. Anyway, that was a big laugh, and it just happened for 1 year. I think the school got some sort of windfall income from somewhere. I don't know where, and it is there. Okay, give to people in the school, distribute. You know, it was fine to do that, right? It's within the law, right? Didn't break any regulation. But 3,000 baht, 3,000 something. My colleague got 5,000 baht. He did a bit more based on, I don't know, but some others got 2,000 baht. Some other colleagues. So I'm sort of in the middle. So I wasn't doing that bad. Okay, so that's bonus, right? And in a typical bonus formula, there's a threshold, right? The profit must reach a certain level implicitly. It's known. Sometimes in the contract, sometimes it is not. And that's a payout cap. What's your payout cap? The bonus? Have there been 20 months? In the history of Thaikom, 6 months? 4 max? But what would situation have to be? A lot of profit? Super top of the notch? Things in the firm must be that good? Maybe. Have you seen it? Has people at your firm seen it? Have any other people seen it? No. So generally, on average, there's a cap. Okay? This about right for bonus? Never be more than 6 months. For some industry, never more than 12 months. On average, about 10 months. Really good, yeah, maybe 14 months we have seen that. But never 24 months. No matter how big the profit the firm, right, produce. Okay. Now this feature is not quite optimal. Okay, not optimal incentives for managers. So in this case, it's not optimal for shareholders. Okay. For example, let's take a look at a naive and simple structure. There'll be no bonus if the ROCE is below 10%. So the threshold is 10%. Okay. And max, I should say fraction, not percentage. Okay, max 2 multiply salary. In percentage would be 200%. Okay, that's max. Some firms 6 multiplied by 600%. Okay, so in this case, then there could arise a situation where, let's say, we are 3 months into 3 quarters into the year. Okay, and the threshold is 10%. Threshold performance is 10%. Now, we're getting 10.1, and we have had the high season. 3 quarters. The high season is in the second quarter. Threshold is 10, and we're getting 10.1, 10.05%, something like that. Okay, pretty much the threshold. So the last quarter, we know that it is dry. So far we get about hovering something around 10, hardly above 10. Last quarter is dry. So the probability of missing the 10, right, 10% threshold is going to be big. What would you do? What would you do? Clearly, here, well, we're going to miss the bonus anyway. Why not defer revenue recognition? Cook the book, accelerate expenses. We miss bonus by 1%, by 0.5%, we miss it. Miss by 5%, we miss it. We may as well just miss it. And maximize the probability or likelihood of getting solid probability of a bonus next year. And once we pass the threshold, right, the deeper into the bonus area, right, the higher, right, the further above the 10%, well, we get an increase in the bonus as well, not just greater likelihood of bonus. So we may as well just cook the book a bit. Okay. Well, on the other hand, if the profit, the performance, is sort of, let's say, yeah, in the same situation, but we are now sort of 15%. What would we do? 50%. Last quarter is going to be dry period. Right now we're 15. Yeah. Dry. We don't know how dry. But if it's that bad, yeah, we could have problems. So let's do the opposite. The problem here is, yeah, that's sort of okay, not that bad, but here could be a problem. Sometimes if we run, the firm relies on big machines, and the scheduled maintenance is in the last quarter. The bills will be dated for the last quarter, right? This is a big expense item. Have you the scheduled maintenance? So in this case, we have incentives. Managers have incentives to postpone, okay, to postpone the scheduled maintenance. For small machines like cars, not so bad. But for big machines, okay, that have that exposed to a lot of heat, okay, for example, 10,000 Fahrenheit or 1,000, 1,500 Celsius, like furnace, okay, when you need to melt sand and silicon together to make insulation like this. You cannot postpone, say, for several types of machines, you cannot postpone the scheduled maintenance. It's life and death. Okay, for example, a hot furnace, the wall could crack. If the wall cracks, it catches on fire. Right? For a furnace like this, it's really hot. Right? Inside, you know, you just sort of see, you could see sort of
bright orange sort of liquid in there, that's sand, melt. And you sort of far away, sweating, you sort of see that. But you can walk around the furnace in the factory. You think about the insulation, the wall, that stops the heat from coming out. Okay, what if the wall cracks? There's many layers of walls, right? If the inner layer cracks because of the heat, right, and it don't get fixed or repaired, right? If the heat come out, it could burn down the whole factory. Okay, if we want to defer the expenses, we have to defer the real activity. In this case, it could be deadly. Okay. Managers cannot do that, but the problem is that they have incentives to push their luck. So obviously, this kind of structure in an employment contract as compensation, as part of the compensation scheme, is no good for shareholders. Is it hard to manipulate? Our benchmark, the benchmark for measuring whether this plan is good, that plan not so good, let's go back to ideal world. Nice and simple. We know that we end up with compromise. But then again, we could ask, this kind of plans, hard to manipulate? Shareholders have long horizon. Does it focus on a long-term perspective? No. Does it match any matching of managers and shareholders' risk? Don't quite see it. Any alignment? Therefore, not really. Okay. So is a bonus plan useless thing to have? I would say no. Better than nothing. Right? Everything is better than nothing. Is it perfect? No. Does it give a lot of side effects? Yes. Anything, any plan. Okay? Most important, we need to know, right? To know the pitfalls, to understand the side effects, basically. Okay, a lot of firms reward their managers or employees based on relative performance. For example, you have to beat industry peers on the market index. Okay, so in this kind of structure, very simple and I would say very reasonable structure, we need to ask ourselves this question. As shareholders, do we want to see more resources, more money, our money being invested in losing situations such as recession? Managers clearly have incentives to spend shareholders during recession, even though during recessions all projects have negative NPV. All projects are negative NPV projects because during recession cash flow are expected to be low. All right, so adjusted for risk, systematic risk, which in principle should not change. Okay, and the cost will be the same, right? Investment cost probably be the same. Holding that constant, NPV are likely to turn negative. So we can generalize that during recession or downturn or during bad time, all projects have negative NPV. And when the good time hits, of course we can't predict. All projects will turn out to be positive NPV projects. Okay, in this case then, say if the firm does not do anything, okay, does not make any investment at all during bad time or during recession, it's -5. Okay, itself is -5. Now, industry average is negative, let's say 3. Sorry, 4. I was thinking ahead of us. Now, if the managers invest in a project that is negative, but less negative than -5, given the size of the project, right? I don't want to solve the maths here, I want to save time. But let's say that project has a negative NPV. Okay, let's say still negative, let's say 1.8. Right? With this, it would bring this down, let's say, to -3 performance. The firm is -3, here is -4. So So relative performance would be positive one. If we reward managers on this basis, managers have incentives to do this kind of thing. Okay? Would you want to do that? Relative performance sounds good. In a nutshell, there can be a situation still, okay, for deviation from the contract, okay, for morals. So what can shareholders do then?
Well, make managers, make employees shareholders as well. Okay, basically employee equity ownership plan or stock ownership plan. Okay, if it's stock ownership plan, it would be ESOP. Short name, short term, abbreviation. Employee stock ownership plan. It would be ESOP. A lot of you would have heard of ESOP, right? What is ESOP? Sour grapes, sweet lemons, ESOP. A tail. Okay. So here this is good, right? Good for employees. They receive ownership interest in the firm, typically on top of their typical salary or base salary. Okay? And in theory, yes, they hold shares in the firm now. So at least for part of their wealth, okay, for part of their wealth, the payoff is the same as the payoff for shareholders. Okay, so we have the alignment, right? Alignment effect. Okay. Now, people say this, but how? How does it happen? What is the mechanism? If we understand the mechanism, then we should know how, well, the question is, how much ownership to give to managers, to give to employees. So the important is the how. How does ownership interest, okay, equity ownership held by managers, by agents, reduce their incentives, okay, to deviate from the contract. If we know how to work this out, work out the mechanism, let's say quantitatively each, this is not a lot of maths, no maths at all, just minus, multiply, divide, that's all, okay? We could see the turning point, right? For example, based on our scenario. Okay, let's go back to our income statement example from last week. Focusing on efforts level 2 and level 3. Okay, say for level 2, assuming the situation in that example where managers gets the best fixed salary. Base salary is fixed and they get the base salary only. So at level 2, the payoff is 400. No private benefit. 400s come from the wage, fixed wage. And they don't share any net profit, right? Okay, that's 0%. So total payoff is 400. At efforts level 3, they extract 50 baht, right? And hide it as a cost of goods sold. So the total payoff is 450. Okay, so let's say, yeah, the size of that incentive is 12.5%. Okay, it's 50 divided by 400. Right. I'm trying to make some comparison. I don't know what to call this. I call it coefficient. This is not in a textbook. I just came up with it one evening. I don't know what to call it. When people of my species don't know what to call something, we call it index. Right? Corporate governance index. Value weighted index. Coefficient. In the regression, what do you call that? You run regression, and what do you call? You get some estimate. Coefficient. Why is it called coefficient? Is it efficient? Is it cold? I don't know. Or parameter. We can't think of anything else. When you read papers, you see a lot of these terms popping up very often. What does that mean? It means that we can't think. Simple as that.
Okay, and we admit that, not proudly. Okay, let's say managers have 20% ownership in the firm.
So everything else is same here. Now at efforts level 2, the share of profit is 20%. 20% of 350 is 70. Okay, if they extract wealth, extract private benefit of control, their share of profit will go down to 20% of 300. Right? So it's 60. So in this case, the incentive coefficient is 551. It goes down. The key point is,
at 100% ownership, at 100% ownership is the left pocket, right pocket effect. Okay, they own the entire firm. So basically, as long as they hold less than 100% ownership, part of the private benefit of control, the private benefit of control that they extract, at least part of it will be subsidized by other shareholders. Okay, and for me, doing this kind of thing allow me to understand why large shareholders, the family owners in the firm, okay, want to get their firm listed, right? And they extract wealth from the firm. Because whatever they extract from the firm, it's not left pocket, right pocket. Yes, they say they own the firm, but they hold 51% only. What about the remaining 49? These are minority shareholders. So if they own 51%, could be something. Of course, other shareholders still subsidize them, at least part of the 50. If they hold 100%, it's left pocket, right pocket, right? Steal from themselves. Right? But if they hold 51%, yeah, they say they own the firm, they're large shareholders. People think they should take care of the firm. But at the same time, they extract private benefit. And whatever they extract, at least in past, is subsidized by other shareholders. Other shareholders still pay for it. Okay? This is why it is important to spend, say, half an hour coming up with something like this and see. So we will understand the real world phenomenon much better. This is like a tool, an aid, right? Visual aid. See, we understand in principle, but we don't see the picture. A picture tells 1,000 words. Okay. Another popular plan that sounds cool is stock options. Right. So this is basically the firm grants a CEO or managers or any employees who are entitled to stock option as remuneration. Okay. Grant them stock options or call options. Okay. So basically, in this case, you give the firm or shareholders gives managers stock options or call options. Okay. So now this is market-based measure of performance. Wealth effect. Okay. How? When would you exercise the call? You hold a call, when would you exercise a call? Right? When the spot price in the future is higher than the exercise price. Okay, when the call is in the money. So share price has to go up. Alright? So with this basic structure of incentives in a normal, a typical call option contract. So typically for remuneration plan, employee stock option will be granted with the exercise price that typically hovers around the current share price. Okay, sometimes a little bit, granted in the money straight away, or sometimes a little bit out of the money. This is US environment. In Thailand, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a Thai data expert. You may check me out and say, yeah, I have paper using Thai data, but I'm not a Thailand expert. Okay, I would know about US data, European data, more than Thai data. Okay. So in the US environment, this is the level exercise price. Of course, there can be some high watermark cases, but they're not very often, where the exercise price is set very high. These are specific cases. In Scandinavian countries, exercise price, if I remember the evidence correctly, tends to be a bit higher as well. Okay, but this is the US environment. Okay. Again, continuing with the US data, there's a vesting period. Right? Vesting period where managers cannot cash and run, cannot exercise. If the vesting period, which is the figure, 10 to 5 years. So long term now, of course, not that long, even 5 years, but still much better than no vesting period, right? Block managers can't exercise their calls. Even their calls are deep in the money. So they lock up for 5 years. So the price rise have to be there at least permanently each, or appears to be sort of permanent price increase. Then they're allowed to cash and run. Expiration, 10 years. Okay, not 8 months, 6 months, like typical call options in the market. Okay. I think in Thailand, there's one of the reasons why I say I'm not a Thailand expert is that in Thailand there are warrants and there are derivative warrants, right? What are derivative warrants? Are there warrants that are not derivative? So normal warrants are not derivative? I think warrants are warrants in Thailand. And derivative warrants are stock options. They call derivative warrants. I don't know why. So, doesn't make sense. I get very confused, so I said, stuff in Thailand, I don't know. Never mind. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, let's say the CEO received calls on 1 million shares. 5 years later, the firm share price goes up and the vesting period, let's say, is 5 years. From 134 from 100. $34 increase in price. Okay, towards 50%, nice. So as per the contract, managers exercises the calls and pockets 34 mil. How? Exercise, buy the call, right, and sell the shares. You said 1 million shares, all the price impact then. Yeah, but managers, the CEO is not that stupid, maybe sell gradually. A little bit every day. Could be like that. Okay, so in this case, the manager pockets 34 mil and the firm receives 100 mil because the firm wrote the call contract, right? The call option. It's a call writer but not holder. So received the exercise price for the share was 134. Is this fair? Yeah, but managers got locked up for 5 years. Share price has gone up too. Okay, so we were thinking about risk aversion. So in this case, let's assess the situation from the CAPM perspective. Is it a good perspective to assess the situation here in terms of return? Is it worth it? Is it good? So in this case, we need to ask, well, the return of $34, 34% over a period of 5 years is good return. Good risk-adjusted return for shareholders. Okay? So let's assume some numbers here. R sub F, 6.5%. Expected. Market risk premium, 6%. Beta, 1.9%. Plug all these data points into the CAPM formula. We get expected return of 13%. Okay. Does this term look funny to you? Normally, how do you write CAPM? How do we write CAPM formula? Yeah, lovely. So what's wrong with that? What's the difference? Sorry? E? What is E? Expected. Okay. So normally, I want to get, this is what I want to get at. Right? We don't like it like we write like this, R sub M minus R sub M. How do we read this term? Market risk premium or market risk premium in equilibrium? Market risk premium in an equilibrium condition. So how do we operate a theory? We need to operationalize a theory. Okay? So this is expected market risk premium in expectation. Do we see subscript T? No, we don't see subscript T. All right? So, okay, this term only. How do we read it? Never mind R sub F. How do we read this? Expected market return. Right? Market return in equilibrium. Okay? In equilibrium condition. How come R sub F there's no expectation? If R sub F is R sub F, how could we read the whole term? Why then we call the whole term expected market risk premium? Why not spread between expected market return and risk-free return? Can we put the expectation sign over R sub F? Yes. Yeah. Expectation of a constant gives a constant, so we can leave it out. We need to save E. Global warming. That's the reason. Save E. So it's a constant. Simplify the term. Yeah. Why is R sub F constant? What does it mean constant across what? Across time? Across what? Across states of nature. Across states of nature. Right? So the what is risk-free return? Return on what kind of asset? The what? A bond issued by Thai government, risk-free. Greek government, risk-free. No government bond. No, this is just proxy. Don't take proxy as theory. It's very dangerous. Okay? So let's get back to the theoretical definition of a risk-free asset. It's an asset that yields return, right? That does not vary with the state of nature. So it's constant across state of nature. Upturn, downturn, good or bad states of nature. Recession or boom, still the same return. That's why it's called risk-free asset. As long as constant return. Okay? So this is what it is. Do you know how to estimate this? How should we estimate this? We need many data points. In others, and take the long-term average. Okay? All right, so coming back to our example here, 13% per annum. Let's pair this with 34% over 5 years, a period of 5 years. So buy and hold, okay? Buy and hold, 34%, 5 years, buy and hold, okay? But this is 13% per year. So 34% buy and hold for 5 years is equal to 6% per year. So the CEO in this case then gets to pocket 34 mil on top of base salary for running the firm short of the expected return on equity. Okay. This is expected return on equity here is equilibrium return, right? It comes from the capital equilibrium return. And therefore, it is return that the firm should expect on average. And therefore, in turn, should be used as benchmark for investment. And hence the term, the cost of equity. This is why we call expected return the cost of equity or required return. They are the same thing, okay? Right, so what would be our answer to this question? Do stock options align incentives?
Yeah, sounds that way, but then, not so good.
Now let's take a look at another situation. We implicitly assume an upturn, stock price goes up. What if stock price goes down during the downturn? Okay, the same sort of structure of the employment contract. Okay, managers or CEO get support. But during the downturn, the CEO has been working very hard, okay, and bring works back to back, and the firm still survives, okay? While a lot of his peers go out of the business, the firm still survives, okay? But the structure of the employment contract rewards the CEO based on stock options. His CEO stock options, okay? So the CEO or the manager, he has been working very hard to keep the firm alive, okay? But he doesn't get any reward for doing well. As shareholders, would you want to keep this particular manager? Yeah. So the firm says you need to give the manager something. But the contract does not give anything to you. What would you do? How? Out of your own pocket? You're going to fork out personal money and hand over to the manager, to the CEO? Perhaps not, right? In the big firm, it's control ownership separation. There are a lot of individual shareholders. Yeah, shareholders see this, but then, yeah, see our CEO is good. Hey, he has resigned. The firm, yeah, surviving, just about to come out of the downturn, the crisis, and the CEO has resigned. He's not getting rewarded for the hard work that he's putting to save the firm. Another problem. Okay. Yeah. So each firm would have their own solution depending on their situation. So anyway, so far, what are the take-home messages? We've been discussing adverse selection and moral hazard. Have we talked about anything else? No. Just information problems, which can give us a lot of difficulty in life. Okay, in commercial. Okay, so whenever there's a contract, right, and there are frictions, there will be adverse selection and moral hazard. So there will always be a conflict of interest between the two parties to the same contract. And in the Jensen-Meckling or finance terminology, these are called agency conflicts, and there will be agency costs. Right? We saw agency costs from last week. Okay, how to estimate. Can we reduce or try to cap agency costs? Yes, we could try. Or minimize agency conflict, but we cannot eliminate. We know. Okay, from our research. So if we have problems, or if I have problems, and this is a brand new problem, I've never seen this problem before, okay, where would I start? I start from what I know. I start from the theory that I've heard of, because theory gives me a map. Okay. So theory tells us where and when the problem will be severe and the cost will be high. Theories will not give us solutions to our problems, but will give us guidelines. Right? Will give us drop important hints. And then it is up to us to pick up hints. Some people pick up hints. Some other people don't. Okay? People who pick up hints will do well. People who don't pick up hints, I don't know. And this is what happened in real world. So when you see people do well, get promoted, yeah, the boss likes her, the boss likes him. But we need to ask, why does the boss like? Okay, right. So agency problems. We are ahead of time, doing quite well. So we can include quite a bit of stuff in the midterm exam. Good. All right, this is it for today. I'll see you next week. Wow, I'm not going to see you for